Hello all, welcome to another session Asynchronous JavaScript. As part of Asynchronous JavaScript, I'll be covering the below topics. What is synchronous code and what is asynchronous code? What is Ajax and how to make Ajax call using XML HTTP request? And what is callback hell? And what are promises and how to consume them? How fetch API will work? And how async and await will work? And how to handle the errors. Let us see what is synchronous code and what is asynchronous code. First we see synchronous code which is opposite of asynchronous code. Let's say we have three lines of code like this. Synchronous code will execute line by line and each line of the code has to wait until its previous line to finish its execution. Means here the first line of the code which selects the element using the class name will execute as normal and then this alert statement will execute, but the third statement will not get executed until we close the alert box by clicking the OK button, which means here the alert statement is blocking the code. Let us see this one in action. Let me run it. Here we have a box with the yellow background color and we have one button which changes the background color of this box from yellow to red. Here in app.js we are listening to the click event of this button and as soon as we click on the change color these three statements will get executed. So let's click on the change color. Now we can see that this first statement got executed and then it come to the second statement which is alert and until we click on the OK button, this third statement which changes the background color of this box from yellow to red will not get executed, which means this alert box is blocking the execution of the third statement. As soon as you click OK, then you can see that the third statement will get executed and it change the color from yellow to red. And here we can see that alert box, but normally we have some task that runs in the background but which will take the 5 seconds of time, 10 seconds of time, and in that case the rest of the code has to wait until it completes its task. So to avoid this we have the concept called asynchronous code. So let us see what is asynchronous code and how it works. Let's observe this code. Here we can see that the first line of code is same and I just replaced alert statement with set timeout. Here we can see that whenever we execute this code, the first line of code will execute in a synchronous way and then it comes to the second line of code in a synchronous way and then the set timeout function will be called and we see we have the timer which runs in the background for 2 seconds and then this console log will execute. But here, while it is running in the background, the third statement will get executed. So set time mode will not stop the execution of the third line. So the set time mode completes its task once this timer expires in the background. Then it executes the console log statement. So asynchronous code will get executed whenever the background task completes its execution. Asynchronous code is non-blocking and the execution of code doesn't wait for an asynchronous task to complete. So here the task statement will not wait for this set time mode to complete but it executes immediately. So let us see this one in action. I just open the console window and here you click on the change color. Then you can see that color is changed. After that, synchronous code printed, which means let us reload it. Whenever we click on the change color, the first line of statement will execute and second line of the code will be called here the set time mode And since we set the 2 seconds of time, it will run the timer in the background and it will not stop the execution of the remaining statements. Means here the third statement will get executed immediately. So you can see that it's changed the color. After that, you can see asynchronous code is printed. So this way asynchronous code is non-blocking and parallelly we can run the code that we want. Let us discuss what is Ajax. Ajax is the best example for asynchronous JavaScript. Ajax stands for Asynchronous JavaScript and XML. Basically, Ajax allows us to connect to the remote servers in a asynchronous way. With Ajax call, we can request data from web server and load it dynamically. Let us discuss how Ajax works. Let's say we have a JavaScript application which runs in browser and that is client. And we want our client to request the data from this server. In that case, the client will send a request to the web server asking for the data and web server will receive the request and it will return the response. The back and forth between the client and server will happens in asynchronous way. Whenever client requests web server for a data, the web server again will connect to the web API. And web API is the place where data will be available. And web API will give the data back to the server and server will send back to the client. So we will discuss more about API in other session. Now let us make our first Ajax call using XML HTTP request. Now we are going to load the country's data using XML HTTP request like we are seeing on the browser. So let us start. As usual, I have index.html page and app.js. In HTML page, I have one container div, and inside that, I have another division for countries. And here we are going to render the countries data dynamically. And in app.js, I am just accessing the countries element, this one. And in app.css, I have some CSS classes for styling purpose. Constant request equal to new XML HTTP request. So here we just created the object of the XML HTTP request. Though XML HTTP request is old way of making Ajax calls, it is very important to know how XML HTTP request works so that we know the importance of promises. And even some of the applications still might be using XML HTTP request. Here we created the XML HTTP request object and here we need to use the method called open and it accepts two parameters. One is the type of method. So here we are going to fetch the data. So we need to use the method get and the second part is URL. So the URL that we are going to hit. I am going to use the public API. Go to the Google and search for public APIs. GitHub provides so many public APIs you can see here and I am going to use the countries API. So I just search for that. You can see here REST countries. Here we can see the three fields like authentication, HTTPS and CORS. Authentication by default no. So we don't need to provide any authentication and again you can see that HTTPS is yes, so it is secure. CAR stands for cross origin resource sharing and the value should be S or unknown. So we have unknown, so we don't have any problem in accessing the API. Now click on the REST API services. Here you can see that all the available endpoints. So endpoint is nothing but the URL. You can see that whenever you want all the countries, you can use this URL. But we want to use this URL so that we can pass the country name and get the country details. So just copy it and paste it here. Here we are opening the connection and using get method and the URL. Here instead of the name we pass, let's say USA. So now we open the connection and now it is time to send it. So what send will do? It will send the request and in the background the request will be processed and you can't assign this data at request to any variable like this and use it because whenever we call the send method it going to hit it and it will be running on the background and whenever it is done then it will execute the load method of the XML HTTP request. So we need to listen to the load event of XML HTTP request. We know that using add event listener you can listen to the any event. So request dot add event listener and the method name is load and it will take callback function and here we will be receiving the data and that data will be available in the response text of the XML HTTP request. So this dot response text. So let's go and print it console.log. Now let us go and run it. So right click, open with the live server. There we go. We successfully made our first Ajax call using XML HTTP request. So we are printing here and the response text is string array of countries data and inside that we can see a object and where the name is United States of America and we can see all the data like population, region and sub-region. We have so much data here. So we are able to get the data using XML HTTP request. So here first we created the object, then we open the connection and by mentioning the method and the URL or endpoint and then we send the request and after that we just listen to the load event which will be firing once the data is ready and we are able to get the data. Let's say if we go and print this one before listening to the load event, instead of this we need to use the request. So request.response data. So because this in the callback function is equal to the request here. So now let's go and see here. We can see that nothing is there. It is empty. If we refresh, you can see that app.js line number 6 we have empty. So we are printing here but we don't have anything here. So the response will be available in the callback function of load event. Now we successfully got the data and it's time to render it on the UI. So just close it. I am going to assign it data equal to, we got the data in string format. We need to convert it into the JavaScript object. So you can use JSON dot parse of this dot response console dot log data. You can see that now array of objects and with zeroth object we have all this data. It is array of object but we need only the first element. So what I do, I just take the first element. So we can do it in a two ways like we can do like this because it will give the zeroth element from the array which means the zeroth element is this one and of course it is having only one element so it directly give this object. Otherwise, you can use the ES6 way like this. So it will restructure the array and it will assign the first element to the data. Now if you go and save and print here, you can see that directly first object. Let us create a HTML that is required to render the country card. Let HTML equal to You can give any name. I'm just giving that and I'm using the ticks. I have already created some HTML, so I just copy pasted to save the time. Here we got the data. So now our data is having the country details like country flag and country languages and currencies, everything. So first let us print the country name. So what is the property that we can use? You can use the name property. Use here. How to use? You can use the dollar symbol and these brackets. Whenever you are using these ticks, then you can use like this. So data dot name is the property name. We have the property called flag, which will give the flag image, which is SVG here. So use this like this. Again dollar data dot flag. Let us display the language that is going to be used here. In the object, we can have the languages array. So if you when you open it, we have the only single object. So we need to use this languages array data dot languages, which is array of zeroth item dot name. And same way, let us look for the currencies. And again, it is array. So just save use same as this one. So just copy here. Instead of languages, it should be currencies. Now we have HTML. We need to render in the countries div. So we have already selected the countries div here. So the countries element is there. Now here you mention countries dot. We have a method called insert adjacent HTML. So where we can add the HTML. So we need to mention where we would like to add the HTML in the countries element. So I use before end and then here we need to use HTML. Save it. Now let's go and see here. There we go. So we successfully rendered the country's card on the UI. You can see this country flag and United States of America is the name of the country and language is English and currency is United States dollar. And there are so many properties and if you want to use them and like region, population, we can print it. But as part of demonstration, I am just printing only two values. Here we are just hard coding the country name. Instead of that, if we can make this code reusable, that will be very good. So let copy this entire code, cut it and create one function like get country data and it should be function paste it and it should accept one parameter which is country. So here in the USA, instead of the USA, we need to pass this country name. So I just remove these double quotes and add the ticks so that you can use the dollar syntax which is very easy. That's it. Now let us make a call to this get country data, get country data and pass USA. Save it and go and see the browser. You can see the same result. Let us load another country data and let's say this time Sweden. Save it and see now United States of America and Sweden, language Swedish and currency Swedish krona, and you can see the two objects now. Okay. Hello again. In our last session, we did a simple Ajax call to fetch the data from countries API. We have created a function called getCountryData and we called it multiple times. Means we made three Ajax calls parallelly and we didn't have control over which data has to load first and which data has to load next. Like see here, if we go and refresh, you can see that America, Sweden, Denmark, and if we refresh again, sometimes you can see that USA, Denmark, Sweden. The order of the data is changing because we made three parallel calls and we didn't have the control. Same thing we can see in the console like If you refresh it once again, now see Sweden has come first and Denmark, then USA. So we didn't have control over the loading of the data. So now let us see how to make the calls in sequence. Like first load the data of USA, then load other country like that. So go to app.js and here we have get country data. So I just use only USA here. Now if we go and see here, we have the object and the USA is having the borders and it is having two countries, Canada and Mexico. We can see that here CAN is code for Canada and MEX is code for Mexico. I would like to load the USA country first, then neighbors. So we have this code. So let's make it like load country, and here what we need to do, we need to first load the USA. After that you have the borders array. From the borders array we need to take this one of the value, like borders codes Canada and Mexico. Then by passing this code we should load this country. So border country we need to load it. So how to do that? So here we are loading the country data by passing the country name. I just name it country Ajax call. And after that, what we are doing here, if we see in the callback function, we are forming the HTML and adding to the containers element. So what I do, I just separate this forming HTML into another function. Let's say function render country. Here we are using the data, so we have to pass it as a input parameter. So data, and so here we need to make this call render country of data we need to pass, save it. Get country data, I just use only USA and remove other. Now let's go and see on the UI. Now you can see that USA is there, it's working as expected. So once we get the country data, we need to get the borders. So console log it, console.log data. We can see that borders are available inside the country and the borders is array which is having two values here, Canada and Mexico. So here we just store these borders in one variable, constant border equal to data dot borders. Here we have two values, but I would like to render only one country data, which is the first one. So in order to get the first one, we can just restructure this array, borders array, by using like this syntax. Now the border will have the value Canada. Now we need to write a code to load the data of border country. So load border country. And remember one thing, we are doing inside the callback function of the country's Ajax call. So we are inside this load event callback function, because once the data loaded, the data will be available in the load callback function only, and then only we can get the data of the borders. So here what we need to do, we need to again make another call. So just copy this and paste it here. Here request to and so here you are getting error because we need to close it again. Yes, save it and just format document. Yeah, so our borders callback function is ended here, and countries callback function is ended here. So now it is clear, and we can see that we are making another request to load the border country data. So request to, and we are opening the connection and URL. Here we need to pass the border ID instead of the country. So border, and here instead of data I use another variable, maybe border country, and let us check how the response will be. Then we will assign, take the border country, copy it, paste it, and paste it, and here it is not required, remove this. Here we are using the country code instead of the country name, so we need to use another URL. So let's go to GitHub API, REST countries. Here you can see that endpoints, name endpoint, just we used it, and this is the endpoint we used. So now we need to use the endpoint code because we are going to pass the code instead of the name. So here only change is alpha. Copy it and paste it here. Instead of border country, let us print this response text and let us see how it appears. There you go. You can see that Canada is loaded, and you can see here the first one is okay, this is the data, and the second one is just object. So it is not array of object. That's why we don't need to do any, destructuring anything, because it is just a object when you pass the country code, because when you pass the country code you can directly get the country, and when you pass the country name you get all the details like country, borders, everything. Now if you observe, so first we made a call to countries API, and there we got the data. From countries data we got the border countries codes, and using border countries codes we made another Ajax call. Then we loaded the border country details. So which means the border country details is always depends on the country details. So this has to be go on sequence, because we can't do these calls parallelly without knowing the border country codes, because the border country codes are part of the country data. So this is how we can make the calls in sequence. And if you observe here, we have the border countries callback function inside the countries callback function. So you can see here inside the countries callback function, we are having again one more callback function for the borders country code. So let's think if the border country again having again the borders, and if you would like to load them again, what you need to do, you need to make another Ajax call, and inside the border countries callback function, which means you need to add another callback function inside this borders callback function. So which is nothing but we are making nested callback functions. And let's say if you want to load 10 countries data, then you need 10 callback functions. And whenever you are adding the callback functions like this, we are going to make our code messy. So whenever our code is messy and not able to maintain, then it is hard to understand. So after some time, if you have some changes to make to any one of the callback function, that may affect another code also. To avoid this, we have the concept called promises, which was introduced in ESCX. And here you see that we loaded the country data and neighbor country data, and not just USA, and just pass say Sweden, save it. You can see Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Germany. So like this, we can load any kind of data. This way of having the nested callback functions is called callback hell. So to get rid of the callback hell, we have the promises which were introduced in the ES6. In our next session, we will see what are promises and how to avoid these nested callbacks or callback hell. Hello again. In last session, we discussed about callback hell. To overcome the callback hell, we have promises. Let us see how to create the promise and consume them in this session. Before that, what is the promise? A promise is an JavaScript object that acts like a placeholder for an asynchronous operation. In simple words, a promise is a container for future value. Let us take an analogy to understand the promise. Let's say you asked your friend to book a movie ticket, and there will be three possibilities. Like your friend may book a ticket or may not book the ticket, and your friend will book the ticket, and your friend will deny to book the ticket. So, like these three possibilities, promises also will have the three states. So, let us discuss about life cycle of promise. In the very beginning, promise will be in the pending state. At this stage, an asynchronous call that you made is still running in the background. Once the task is completed, then the promise will be in the settled state. There are two kind of settled promises. One is fulfilled promises and the second one is rejected promises. The fulfilled promises means the asynchronous operation is resulted in value that you expected, and rejected promise means there is a error due to network issue or due to offline. Now let us see how to create a promise. I just comment the code that we have written in our last session. As I said in the beginning, promise is a JavaScript object. So new promise, and this promise constructor will take a parameter called executor, which is a function. So function, and this executor function will be called whenever we create the promise object. Means whenever we say new promise, then it get executed. And again, this executor will take the two parameters. One is resolve and reject. You can see the definition here. Resolve is again nothing but a function, and reject again nothing but a function. So that's it. And let us save this promise into a variable constant promise. So let me run it. Now we have created the promise and stored in a variable called promise. As I said, the executor which we passed into promise constructor will get executed as soon as we create the new promise. So which means by the time it get executed now. So let us console it. Console.log promise called. Save it, and you can see that promise called, which means it got executed whenever we created the object of the promise. And now let's go and print the promise variable. And now we check promise, and you can see the state pending, which means we have created the promise and the promise state is pending now. At this stage, you don't know that your friend will book ticket or not book the ticket. So this stage is pending stage, and you can see the promise state pending, and promise result now it will be undefined. Now the state is pending. So now let us assume your friend booked the ticket, which means your friend fulfilled his promise and you got the expected output. So in that case, we have to use resolve. So resolve ticket booked. And now let's go and save and see this promise stage. So you can see that now promise stage is fulfilled and promise state is fulfilled. And let me comment it, and let's think that your friend didn't book the ticket and he denied your request. Then he rejected your request and he didn't fulfill his promise. So deny booking, and now go and save it. Now we see that promise is having the rejected state. So this is a rejected promise. And you can see that promise state rejected and promise result is deny booking. But whereas when you see the promise result here, you can see that promise result is ticket booked. But in case of reject, whatever we pass to the reject method, that will be the promise result value. Deny booking. This is how promise will have the different states, like starting from pending state, then fulfilled state, and rejected state also. Let me uncomment it. Now your promise is fulfilled. So you need to consume it to get the result. So how to do that? Using promise start, and promise is having a handler called then. What is the then handler? That I'll tell you now. And this then handler, you'll have the again two parameters. One is unfulfilled and unrejected. As I said while discussing about the life cycle of promises, settled promises will have the two different promises, that is fulfilled promises and rejected promises. Once your promise is settled, then you will have the two different states. One is fulfilled, so function, and another one is again. So here you will have the result. So the first one is fulfilled promises, and which is having the result, and the second one is rejected promises. So this rejected promise will have the details about why the promise is rejected. In nothing but it will have the error information. So error, that's it. And now here the promise is fulfilled. So here let console dot log and print the result. Now you can see that value is ticket is booked, and this function will not get executed because the promise is fulfilled and it is not rejected. So if you reject it, then you will have the like no reject, deny to book the ticket, and here let us paste it error. You can see the deny to book the ticket error. So we know that, so rejection means something kind of error or something that we need to take a look at. So it is always better practice to throw the error. So new error object, and there you place. Now you can see that error deny to book the ticket, and even you can see the line number where it got rejected. So line number 50, you can see the 50. So this is how we can create the promise, and you can resolve or reject the promise. And once the promise is resolved or rejected, then this then handler will be notified. And in then handler, the first function, which is unfulfilled function, it get called when the promise is resolved. And the second function will get called when the promise is rejected. Promise is very simple, and I hope you understand by now. And the important point that we need to remember is a settled promise can have either fulfilled or rejected promise. So let's say here we have result, here we are rejected, and what I mean is here you can't have the like this. So you can't resolve it and again reject it. So it can be only one thing. So since we resolved it first, then you can see that ticket booked and this fires. After that we rejected, but it won't consider that rejection. So the promise can have either fulfilled promise, means either resolve or reject, but it cannot have both at a time. Like let's say set timeout. So here we have the set timeout which will execute after 1 second, and that resolve the promise. But even that won't be taken in place, and this will be ignored, and same way even this will be ignored. So the settled promise will have the only one promise, either fulfilled promise or rejected promise. And let me remove this now. As soon as we save it, the ticket booked is called. So we use promise to work in asynchronous way, but it doesn't have to work in asynchronous way. When you do like this, resolve ticket booked, it is having the result immediately, and it will give the result and it get executed. But if you want to provide some delay, then you can use the method, let's say set timeout, and here let's say 1 second I pass, and inside that you can use this. Now you can see after 1 second you get the result. Now let us discuss how to catch the error. Let's say if you are sure about that you are going to get error. So in that case you can use the catch method, and you can avoid using this handler, because here in then handler you will have the fulfilled promises and rejected promises, and you can ignore these, and you can have the catch block, and it takes again one parameter like error console.log error. To receive the error, we need to reject the ticket. So reject, and you can see the deny booking after 1 second, that from the catch block. And when to use the finally. So as you know, irrespective of the successful or failure conditions, finally will get executed. In the promises also, it acts like the same way. Finally, even though you have error also, the finally block will be get executed. Let's see how to attach the handlers to the then method. Now let me keep resolved here. If you see here we are just displaying the message that whatever we received from the resolved state. But in real time, you may need to do some calculations after receiving the data. So for that, you need to create another method instead of writing entire thing. So in that case, you can write a function constant. Let's say show message equal to, and just console log it because I have just string message console.log message, and I will pass this parameter, so it should have take one parameter. Now we have created the function, and this function can be passed as a handler to this then method. So let remove this entire thing and just pass show message, and this show message should be upside. Now you can see that message received, ticket booked. And now let us see how to promisifying the promises. Now what I do, I just create a function that will resolve the promise after a specified time. Let us create a function called wait constant wait equal to, and let me write arrow function here, and this will return the promise, return new promise, and we know that promise will take the executor function. So as we already seen the normal function, I just use arrow functions here, and we know that this executor will take the two functions, that is resolve comma reject. So here I would like to resolve this promise after a 1 second or 2 second, depends on the user input. So here I would like to have the input parameter that user wants to provide. So here let us use the set time mode again, same thing. And here what we do, instead of 1000 we use seconds, means whatever user paused, and multiply by the 1000 milliseconds. So now if user pass the value 1, it will resolve the promise after 1 second. Now let us go and consume it. Same as the way how we consumed the promise, we can consume it. So wait, and here we need to pass the value because we need to specify that after how many seconds we want to resolve that promise. So I just pass 1 second dot. We know that promise will have the handler, then handler, and here I am going to write the fulfilled promise using the arrow function. Since we are not going to reject it, so I am not writing the error handler, which is rejected handler. That's it. And here this will receive the result. So result, say console.log, and here use the result. Now let's go and save it. You can see that ticket booked is displayed after 1 second. Save it. Now it is going to print it after 2 seconds. In our last session, we have seen that if you want to make another call using XML HTTP request after receiving the first call result, then we need to write the another callback function inside the first callback function. We can avoid it by using the promises. So how can you do that? Here I am going to make another call return and call wait, and here I pass 2 seconds, and here let me pass 1 second, and here I mention after 1 second. I just made a call to this and I just returned the promise. So after it receiving its promise value, and then here we made the call to return the promise. Since we return the promise here, again we can consume it using the then handler. So then, and here again I am using the fulfill promise, and here let's say again I mention result 2, and here I will mention after 2 seconds, and let me go and save it. You can see that now first it will print it after 1 second, then it will print after 2 seconds, and this way even you can make another call return wait. Here I pass 3, and I will consume same way, and here I just stop it. Instead of result 2 I mention result 3. You no need to pass result 1 or result 2, anything you can pass. And here I mention after 3 seconds, and now let go and save it. You can see that after 1 second, after 2 seconds, then the third message will display after 3 seconds. So this way you can promise failing or you can changing the promises. In our last session, we can see the callback hell where we need to write the nested callback functions. Here, instead of writing the nested callback functions, you can just return the promise from another promise, and then you can consume that promise like this. So this is very neat and clean, and you can understand the code easily. So this is about promise, and in our next session we'll see how to make the Ajax call using the fetch and how to make use of promise.